I didn't think you'd come. I'll find something relatively clean for you to sit on. Can I get you something to eat or drink? I have water.
I came here to see you, Merill. You don't have to fuss over me.
You're so kind. My first guest, and I'm already a terrible host. I wanted to thank you for bringing me here, but I'm making a mess of it.
You're so sweet, Merill.
Not as sweet as you, that is. Good wishes are a poor gift after all you've done for me. I haven't exactly had many friends. Not even among my own clan. This is... tricky.
What made you unpopular with the Dalish?
Being first to the Keeper, I was always a bit secluded. I studied magic and history while the others were learning the Via Tanadal. It's good that I left. I'd have made a terrible Keeper. I was never that good with people.
You seem to be getting the hang of it already.
I'm glad you think so. Thank you for coming to visit me, Hawke. It means a lot to me. This city is amazing. Do you know I saw someone get mugged? Right outside. It was fascinating. Everything happens here all at once. How does anyone keep it all straight?
Someone has jumped outside your door and that's exciting?
It must be the alien age greeting. Hasn't happened to me yet, though. They must not like me. It's so busy here. So many things just get... lost.
Do you miss the Dalish?
I miss Heren Pivel's stories. The creaking of Aravels in the breeze. The city is so busy and confusing. And the elves here are not like my clan. But I'll get used to Kirkwall in time.
The Templars haven't found you, have they?
I've been careful, even among the Dalish. Keepers never work magic in public. And I think the Templars don't even see me. I'm just another elf in the alienage.
Are you feeling lost here, Merill?
A bit. But I'll adjust. I'm glad you came by. I needed someone to talk to.
I've got something for you.
Ooh. Did you get this from MarshallEden? Mithal, did I miss some important occasion? I'm so sorry. I'll make it up to you, I promise.
There's no occasion, Merill. I just thought you'd like it.
I do like it. I'm sorry I'm making a mess of this. No one has ever given me a present before. Useful things. Tools or clothes. Because I needed them, not just because. Maseranas, I'll find a good place for this. I've got something to show you. Come and see. It's beautiful, isn't it?
You're much prettier.
Oh, you're too kind. Is it warm in here? Stop bubbling, Merill. I've spent the last few years restoring this. 2 of my clan stumbled across it in a ruin. We never found Tamlin. Amariel came back, poisoned by the Alluvion. Sick just from being near it.
What are you trying to do with this mirror?
At first, I wanted to find out what happened to my friends. Maybe I could still help them. But the Keeper said Mahariel died to stop the Blight. I'll never... Anyway, I know I can use it to help my people recover what we've lost.
This thing is what made the Keeper send you away, isn't it?
The Keeper wanted me to destroy the fragment I kept. She said our ancestors meant it to be forgotten.
but it's a keeper's place to remember. Even the dangerous things. We argued. I left. She's wrong. This mirror could teach us so much about who we once were.
Did your clan member recover?
She had the blight corruption, the keeper said. Marathari's magic was keeping it at bay, but not forever. A Grey Warden took her away. He promised they could cure her. I suppose they must have. The keeper said she led the armies that slew the archdemon.
What's an alluvian?
Long ago, the elves had a kingdom. An empire that covered Thedas. And every city had an alluvian. The mirrors let them communicate across their empire. But I don't know how exactly. My people have lost so much. We know almost nothing of the days before Arlathan. This is a piece of our history.
I'm sure you wouldn't show something this dangerous to just anyone.
It's not dangerous, I promise. I fixed it, or tried to, with blood magic. The mirror won't hurt anyone.
I cringe every time she says that. She has no idea what she's messing with.
I do. I have it totally under control. But it doesn't work. I've tried everything, and I think it's because it needs to be finished with a special tool. An Arulin home. And my clan has one. It's been in their hands for generations.
But you're afraid to face Keeper Marathari again.
Exactly. You have no idea, the Keeper. I can't talk to her. We fight or talk circles around each other. She has a disappointed frown that turns your bones to jelly. Please, help me. You will, won't you?
I'll go with you.
Marsaranas, I'll find some way to repay you, I promise. Hawke, I could never have faced the Keeper myself. I never imagined a human would help me restore Dalish history. No one ever understood. Not the Keeper, not my clan. Just you.
What can I say? I'd do anything to help someone as sweet as you, Merill.
You're too good to me. I don't deserve you. You're the first real friend I've ever had. Marsaranas, Lethalan. Oh, Hawke! Come in. I was just... Am I crazy?
What? No, of course not.
I thought the rule in a home would fix everything. The mirror would work and everything would be right again. But I keep dreaming of Paul's face. Everyone that I care for thinks I'm a monster.
It's hard to imagine someone more lovable than you.
That's so untrue. I can think of someone. You've been so good to me. I'll find a way to make this up to you, Lethalan. That's a promise. Oh, thank goodness you're here. I thought you went to the Hanged Man. And I always went there to look for you first, but then I thought you might have gone to see your uncle instead. And I'm rambling, aren't I?
Why were you looking for me, Merill?
After you left, I couldn't stop thinking about Paul and the mirror and everything that's happened. I wonder if I've made a mistake leaving the Dalish.
You're just feeling homesick. Don't second-guess yourself.
I suppose if I hadn't left my people, I never would have met you. I'm not like you. And I wish that I were. You're beautiful and clever, and you never make any mistakes. And I don't deserve you.
I'm not as perfect as you think, Merill. I'm not some sort of goddess.
I wouldn't be so sure about that. Some people worship you from afar, you know. It's foolish of me to even dream that you might.
You don't have to dream about it. Merill? It's all right.
What happens now? Are we... What did this mean?
Now we both decide what happens next.
If you hadn't come to Sundermount that day, I can't imagine where I'd be now. I love you. I probably shouldn't have said that, should I? I always say the stupidest things.
I love you, Merill. Actually, I was going to suggest you move in with me.
Here, in Hightown, the rich, fancy part of the city with no rats in it. And you, with an elf. Marvenon, you really are crazy, aren't you? If you're not afraid, then neither am I.
Isabella, my dusky goddess, you have buried yourself in the flesh of my heart like a worm in a red, red apple. You heartworm, you.
Oh, look, my friend is here. Excuse me.
But I haven't gotten to the part where I invite you to feast upon my tender white flesh.
That's all right, I think I'll manage. Speaking of romance, you're interested in Merill, aren't you?
I have feelings for her.
Well, that's good. She always seemed a little lonely. I get the feeling the girl's messing in something big and dangerous. Look out for her, will you? Make sure she doesn't hurt herself.
And then Hawke tore the door clean off its hinges, walked into the room, and... I guess we'll finish this later.
Have you got a minute, Varric?
For you, I have all the time in the world. Actually, I've been meaning to talk to you. There definitely seems to be something between you and Daisy these days. So, what's going on, Hawke?
You wouldn't bring this up just to gossip. What's on your mind?
Shows what you know. I would definitely bring this up just to gossip. I didn't, but I would. Listen, as your friend, I feel like I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't say something. Merill is a sweet girl, but there's a whole lot of crazy in that little package.
I know you mean well, Varric. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing.
I certainly hope so.
Last bottle of the Egregio. I've been saving it for a special occasion.
And what's that?
The anniversary of my escape. Astia Vala Firmundis. Care to hear the story?
I thought you avoided talking about this.
Not on special occasions.
I'd like that.
Let's see. You've heard of Saharan? The Imperium and the Qunari have fought over the island for centuries now. I was there with Daenerys during a Qunari attack. I managed to get him to a ship, but there was no room for a slave. I was left behind. I barely got out of the city alive.
I thought Daenerys considered you valuable.
He wasn't given a choice. The look on his face as the ship pulled out was priceless. There are rebels in the Saharan jungles called Fog Warriors. They found me and took me in, nursed me back to health. I stayed with them for a time, until Daenerys finally came for me.
Were you with these Fog Warriors willingly?
I'd grown fond of the rebels. They bowed to no master and fought for their freedom. It was beyond my experience. When Daenerys came, they refused to let him take me. He ordered me to kill them, so I did. I killed them all.
Why would you do such a thing?
It felt inevitable. My master had returned and this fantasy life was over. But once it was done, I looked down at their bodies. I felt I couldn't. I ran and never looked back.
Couldn't you have found other Fog Warriors? Become a rebel?
Even if I did, I felt unworthy. I had no way of knowing if I could truly escape from Daenerys then. I didn't even know what that meant. I simply had to get away. I stowed aboard a ship to the mainland and moved south, chased by my former master every step of the way.
I have to wonder why you stayed with Daenerys as long as you did.
You have not been a slave. A slave does not dream of freedom or wonder at possibilities. You think only of your master's desires and what the next hour will bring. It did not occur to me that I could be anything else until I had a taste of it.
But there are stories of slaves rebelling all the time. They did in Kirkwall.
The ritual that gave me my markings also stripped me of my memory. Whatever I was before may as well have never been. Perhaps if I knew, I might have felt differently.
How well did you know these Fog Warriors?
I knew them only a few months, but in that time, I felt as if I truly lived. They were bold, strong, free with their affections. I was in awe of them and owed them everything. And I turned on them even so.
Didn't Daenerys stop you?
The rebels had wounded him. The soldiers he brought attempted to capture me, unsuccessfully. It was weeks before Daenerys was able to mount the hunt in earnest, but by then, I was already gone.
This can't be easy to talk about.
I've never spoken about what happened to anyone. I've never wanted to. Perhaps this is what it means to have a friend.
Perhaps you're right.
To you, Hawke. May I fight at your side for years to come.
What are you doing?
Putting out milk. I miss having a cat around. But I think the refugees have scared them all off. Or maybe eaten them. You know, I've been meaning to thank you. You don't need to stick your neck out for the mages here. But you have. Maybe because of you, Fenrir will master his magic and return to teach us how the Tevinters do it.
Mages cannot be treated as guilty just by association.
I can't tell you how reassuring that is. Sometimes, you're the only reason I don't think I'm crazy. When you still believed in me after I almost killed that poor girl. I knew you meant it. You wouldn't say it just to make me feel better. You make me think I can really do this. Lead a revolution.
I didn't realize you were planning anything that big.
No small change would address the injustice that mages face. The Chantry itself must be overturned. There will always be mages born in Thedas. But Templars are made by men. And they can be unmade.
Why does this matter so much to you?
You saw Sir Auric's plan. How many Templars would prefer that every mage was a mindless, drooling babe? In the Circle, they tell you day and night that magic is sin. A mark on your soul of the Maker's hatred. But for all the talk of demons, the most common death I saw for a mage was suicide.
Together, we'll win this fight.
Your faith inspires me. Sometimes, I fear I cannot do this. Not while I struggle against this vengeance inside me. But I know you won't let me lose myself to him.
It's a fine suit.
The finest.
Break it down, distribute it.
The Viscount requires parade armor for his inspections.
Then stuff it and mount it where he can see it. I wear the uniform of the Guard.
His Excellency will not be pleased.
His Excellency can mount it. Trouble, Hawke?
Seems like you have enough.
You don't know the half of it. And why don't you, by the way? Why aren't you tail deep in the problems of this city? Sure, you do good, but petition a title, take a job. The Guard is always looking.
That's a bit harsh, given my record.
Maybe I'm just sick of being the first stop for complaints about people like you.
People like me?
Brand's on about fortune hunters, mercenaries, disreputable professions without purpose. He's a clod, but sometimes, well, it might be good if the city was a little more stable.
Come on now. You'd really prefer the troublemakers stay home?
All right. So maybe I don't want to be completely put out of business. And I don't even really mean you. But some people, they go on without regard and then act surprised when someone starts a circle. There are warning signs, you know. It's worth saying.
I'm giving it all up. I made a vow to the Chantry and it was wrong to turn my back.
Sebastian, listen to yourself. You're as impulsive now as the day you turned away from us. Do you think the Maker wants another rashly spoken vow that you'll abandon when the next passion takes you?
I will not...
This is your life, child. Don't spend it being blown about like a weather vane. But here's Hawke. Maybe you can talk some sense into him.
Is the Grand Cleric upset with you?
She thinks I'm fickle, but I mean it. It was wrong for me to break my oath to the Chantry. I've turned against the Maker. And for what? Why would I want to rule Starkhaven and deal with jackals like Lady Harriman for the rest of my life?
Do you see yourself as a prince? Or a priest?
That's exactly the question I've been praying for guidance about. When I think of going to Starkhaven, calling on allies like Flora Harriman and all the corrupt, scheming nobles, my throat swells shut in horror. When I think about staying, I'm at peace.
If you give it up, what then?
I suppose I must convince Elthina my commitment is sincere. Then I will remain here, to represent the Maker's interests as she thinks best.
You should ask what's best for your people, not just for you.
I do not have hubris enough to imagine it matters to the common people who rules them. Someone will take the reins. The fields will be planted, the crops gathered. No one will notice that a Vale lives and isn't there, and I can devote my life to the Maker's will on Thedas.
You're wise to stay here. No one trusts a man who breaks his oath.
I cannot return to Starkhaven and subject my people to war without a clear sign that it's the Maker's will.
Why do you always win at cards?
Because I cheat, kitten. This trinket, it's elven, isn't it? From your clan. Don't bet anything you're not prepared to lose. Here, have it back. A jigger of your finest whiskey for my friend over here. The Hanged Man's finest isn't much, but it'll get you just as drunk as anything you'll find in Hightown.
That's generous of you.
What's coin if not for spending, eh?
You could save up to buy yourself a new ship.
There you go, ruining our fun with good sense. I thought I'd have to watch myself around you, but as it turns out, you're all right.
What do you mean I'm all right?
You don't judge people. You're not afraid to get your hands dirty. You know, little things like that. If I had someone like you on board my ship when the storm hit, maybe we wouldn't have been shipwrecked.
If you hadn't been shipwrecked, we wouldn't have met. That would have been a shame.
I'll drink to that.